Hello, and welcome to the Leadspace Leadership course by Kinetic Leadership Consulting Services. My name is Dr. Caesar Kellum, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this exciting journey towards becoming an exceptional leader. Whether you're a seasoned leader looking to take your skills to new heights or an aspiring leader eager to make a difference, our Leadspace Leadership course is designed to empower you with the tools, knowledge, and mindset to succeed in today's dynamic world. At Kinetic Leadership Consulting Services, we believe in creating launch and lead leaders, individuals who not only excel in their roles, but also leave a lasting impact on their organizations. The Leadspace awareness perspective is at the heart of our coaching, building a deep understanding of effective leadership and how to be a better leader starting today. Our approach is backed by the latest in leadership research. Leadspace was born out of the Leadership in Defense Support of Civil Authorities study, which brought together over a century of executive leadership experience during natural disaster response. This unique perspective empowers leaders, both military and civilian. Let's start by covering a few areas up front that should be on your mind. Let's cover some admin items. Let's start with these items in order to answer these questions. What does this offer you? How can this change you? What makes this different? These are the items that anchor our reason for being here today. Yet instead of just filling in the blanks with what I feel are the answers, let's look at it from a what, so what, now what perspective. Let me share with you who I am for what you're getting today. Not so much as my qualification or experience, but as a lifelong learner and service member in the United States Air Force, I've found myself a student of leadership dedicated to a life of service. And the intent here today is for Leadspace to serve you in discovering how to have an active, genuine involvement at improving your self-leadership, your team leadership, or your executive leadership. Which then brings us to so what? Leadership is a team sport. There are leaders and followers with interchangeable roles, right? Lead, follow, or get out of the way. Just as it takes each one of us, and we're all connected together, the Kinetic Leadership model integrates multiple leadership approaches distilled down for you to be the most effective way in how to connect your energy and take action. This is a scholar practitioner's perspective at developing your lead space awareness. And for the now what and what makes this different, this is a way that I would like for you to think of lead space as something that you should be spatially aware of. Think of being 3D spatially aware of a perspective. And to put that into context, as an airspace control and warning operator in the Air Force, I remember learning of how we used airspace. We defined the lateral and linear boundaries of the national airspace system. So as an enlisted weapons controller, similar to air traffic controller, but with weapons, the missions were vigorous exercises with high-performance aircraft within a recognizable airspace to practice the art of air-to-air superiority. The maneuvers within these airspace were always different, extremely complex and difficult, yet the area remained definitive. The space was well known and recognizable and used by all. In the image to the very right, you can see, as an intelligence weapons officer in the Air Force, I remember the complexities of understanding threats and applying tactics, techniques, and procedures. We were responsible for conveying large amounts of information into consumable forms for decision makers that required a use of a battle space mindset. There are a multitude of complexities when assessing the most likely and most dangerous course of action of an adversary, I'm sure you can imagine. Yet utilizing a shared understanding of the environment, the target, the execution, the assessment cycles, that provides us with more of a battle space perspective. The space was well known, recognizable, and used by all, just as with airspace. As a research candidate at the University of Charleston, I explored the phenomenon of leadership through the lens of leadership awareness, linking effective leader action to meaningful disaster response outcomes. So lead space awareness was formed from these executive leaders that encompass approximately 100 years of leadership experience at the executive level during disaster responses. So lead space awareness is about developing and skillfully executing the articles of engagement to gain and maintain sense-making as a leader. The space to spend your time and energy for maximum effectiveness, just as with airspace and battle space, that space can be well known, recognizable, and used by all. Now that we've covered the admin items, covering what, so what, and now what, and knowing why we're here, let's take a look at how we got here. To introduce the Kinetic Leadership model would be to cover the research study of leadership in defense support of civil authorities. It was a qualitative exploratory study, which is a cool way to say I got to talk to some very interesting people. As I said before, approximately 100 years of executive level experience, and I can share some of the data points with you later. We're talking leaders riding on Air Force One. We're talking leaders making life and death decisions. The interdisciplinary theory of DISCO leadership, it empowers a community of emergency management, disaster response, both from a military and a civilian perspective, in order to action dynamic capabilities. This is where everything came from. This new theory observes the sense-making of leadership awareness, or Leadspace awareness. So what I'm sharing today is the application of this leadership approach to your everyday life, to be the best leader you can possibly be by observing the importance of Leadspace awareness. So that was our admin, and that was our background. Let's go ahead and take a look at the leadership model itself. To explain the overall approach to the disciplines and components that we'll talk about, each pie wheel here is made up of components. You should think of these components that they make up of one discipline. So each pie wheel is one discipline. Think of a discipline as a set of actions that one can engage upon. The supporting discipline to the left is about developing the human capital, the leader's abilities, the leader's knowledge, skills, and abilities. This is about developing that human capital. You're exploiting their, from within, abilities to critically think and decision make and problem solve. The supported discipline is about developing the social capital perspective, the leadership's relationships, responsibilities, and roles. Now, the advent of supported and supporting disciplines lends new leaders and those considered to be expert with a compass instead of a map when dealing with or navigating the complexities of leadership, allowing one to engage on purpose and with purpose. Overall, this theory offers an explored perspective of supporting and supported disciplines and the construction of Leadspace leadership, which is a new term and concept for the leadership community. Thank you for learning more about developing your Leadspace leadership. I look forward to teaching all of the articles of engagement to discover your Leadspace awareness. Again, thank you, Shifco, for allowing me to share. And also, please learn more about how to be a better leader today by watching the podcast I did with Linda Bucher. And one last thing, I'd like for you to check out this video from Apple about seeing things differently. Because as a Leadspace leader, you will. Check it out and take care.